Call the meeting to order. All those that can, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
All right, everyone is present this evening.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Anybody have anything they want to modify?
I move to approve the agenda as presented. I don't think there was any additions to it, but there's an addition to the list of bills, with that addition included.
That'll go at the end, so,
Okay.
There was an addition though, right?
The-
yeah.
From the original.
Oh,
Got the one?
Yeah,
with the additions.
support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Let me see. Make sure that we. Right, next item, consent agenda approval. Can we get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote please.
Mrs. Chenoweth?
Yes.
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 Yes, with a note that on the library board minutes, the word library is missing out of the title on a couple of the minutes in there. Just FYI for them.
Okay.
Yes.
And yes.
Motion carries.
All right, announcements and information inquiry. One of our employees of 13 plus years in our maintenance department, Mark Owak, is retiring at the end of the year. He's the guy that has moved the chairs and cleans the building and shovels some snow and mows grass and does all those things, and he's done a phenomenal job. So I think he's reached that age where now he can call it quits. So he's going to go into full retirement here. Halloween trick or treat hours for Highland Township are 6 to 8 p.m. on October 31st. And public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Yes, sir. Name, address. Step up to the.
Dennis Raymond, 6039 Fish Lake Road. I'm here to address your email that you sent me the other day, telling me that I hide behind my emails. I hide behind them. I'm right here. I'm not hiding behind anything. I never have been. Every email I sent, I've been to a meeting. Second, you talk about how I criticize the board. Seems to me that back in 2016, somebody mentioned that how you treat your own board. It was in a spinal column. It's not hidden. I'm not making it up. That's the second thing. So don't blast me when you seem to be doing the same thing to your board members. Whether it's right or wrong, you want to debate it later, that's fine. Third of all, you said to me that you're going to publish all my emails that I sent you in regard to the board. You go right ahead, because just make sure you tell your friend down there that he better, give me my rebuttal. Because there's been 2 incidences now where I've given them stuff and for some reason they're not appearing. Okay, well, I'm gonna find out what's going on. There's other things I'm hearing. So I'm telling you, that's a public, whether it's private or public, if I put in a meeting and it's not there, I wanna know why. And he better not give me some crazy excuse like he did last time, I don't wanna discuss it. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. I do have a lawyer, okay, not on retainer, but I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna give him one more chance, okay? And if he's not gonna publish my stuff in this paper, I'm gonna find a way to get rid of that guy or sue him. I'm just telling you, okay? He owns it. I'm getting sick and tired. That's 2 of them now, okay? So I'm just letting you know that I'm not gonna stop. I give you an article. One is about a meeting. He didn't want to print the meeting because it's about what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to find out who's controlling this guy. That's all I have to say. Well, I don't care, you go like this, you can publish everything you want, But he better give me my rebuttal when you print something about my article. That's all I'm telling you. And if he doesn't, he will hear from my lawyer, and I guarantee you that, one way or the other. Public or private entity, I don't care. Okay, it says that you can print, you know, I'm not printing anything derogatory, I'm printing about a meeting. So that's all I gotta say. Take it for whatever it's worth.
All right, and I do have a rebuttal to that, just so everyone understands. Number one, I did not tell you that we were publishing it. I said that as for publishing, which you said you were going to do over and over again in your emails, you're going to
Right.
publish the emails. I said, publish them.
Right. And
Go
you
ahead.
said- and
You
said the
publish
same
them,
thing.
sir. You publish them.
Okay,
That's your choice. I'm not doing it.
okay, then
you
tell
want me to,
him,
then-
tell him to print them. He's already said something twice. He's
I
your
am not
friend.
his, I don't own that paper. I got nothing to do with that paper. He's his own person.
Well, then,
Newspapers print what they want.
right, well, we'll see, because this is twice now. He's targeting me because of whatever negative things I'm saying. So I'm just telling you straight out, that I'm gonna go see him, and it better be printed, because if not, he can suffer the consequences. Because you're telling me to publish him, but somebody over there is telling him not to. And I don't care what his excuse is. Last time he just said, well, I don't wanna discuss it. I don't wanna discuss it.
Okay,
Well,
thank-
he's gonna discuss it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone?
Anybody else have public comment?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just, on, number 8C.
Name and address?
1528 Middle Road, Lynn, Pittsburgh. Couple things. The number 8C, adoption of Z010 zoning ordinance, is there a public comment on that tonight? Or, I don't see it on here, so.
No, it was,
Did you have one? Because I don't remember.
It was introduced in a public
Yeah, I remember it
at
was
the
introduced.
previous time, and that's when you would
Okay.
take
All right,
that
so I
opportunity.
just want to address, I looked that up, and what it's changing and what it's allowing is for a particular business down here to operate his business with a rental property there and still have a commercial operation going as well. The problem I had with the wording, and this is in section 16.03, non-conforming uses, is there's no end to it. In other words, we're trying to develop this as a commercial corridor down here. And what this does is it sets it up that as a non-conforming use, they can kind of double dip, as I would call it, is they can run a rental there, and then they can start their business and have their business running at the same time. The last sentence in this particular section says a vacancy of 12 months shall be deemed an abandonment of the residential use per that section 1605. So as long as he keeps a rental property going there, or somebody renting that house, it would be indefinite. And it would seem to me if the township's trying to change this over to a commercial type corridor down here, then there would be a limit to how long somebody could run a commercial and a residential business there at the same time. So that's my comment. I think that's a loophole, and I think that in the future that other businesses will probably try to do the same thing. So you're gonna have, you know, instead of them converting over within a certain period of time, it would be indefinite that they would do that. The other thing I wanted to address was the advertising of the CBGD funds on the website. I guess the comment I have on that is unless your website, you're talking about the township website,
Right.
has 100% participation from the residents in the community, there'd be many people that would never see how those funds were gonna, or the announcement of the public hearing for the funds. So I think even though it's a money saver, it limits information to the community. That's my comment on that.
Thank you, Lynn, I appreciate it. All right, any other public comment? All right, then we'll move on. Somebody was supposed to be here for a presentation,
They canceled.
did they cancel?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a family emergency.
Okay, item 7, is canceled. Number 8, pending business. First item, 8A, resolution number 17-12A to correct millage rates for the 2018 budget. You want to address that, Judy? Okay.
Basically what happened was the resolution information was taken from the wrong column on the 4029. The 4029 was correct, so this is just to correct that.
Okay. Was there any significant?
The Headley rollback wasn't included,
Okay.
so the rates are less.
They all
Right.
dropped, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. All right, some entertain a motion, please.
I would move resolution 17-12A to correct the millage rates for 2018.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, the next item, ordinance number 459, an ordinance to amend the Charter Township Code of Ordinance regarding unlawful purchase, consumption, or possession of alcohol by minors, conform to changes in state law. That was presented at the last meeting for public. This is the opportunity to adopt or approve.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
I provided the board yesterday with an even further updated ordinance that makes the effective date through an emergency ordinance of that ordinance you adopted a while back, January 1, 2018. It's explained in my letter from October 4 and elaborated in my email. I can explain it further, but if you adopt something, adopt the emergency ordinance number 459A. That makes the effective date in section 4 of ordinance 459, January 1, 2018. That is to stay in conformity with state law and stay out of violating the Charter Township Act.
Okay, so if somebody heard that and wants to include that in a motion, or we can adopt that as the motion to,
That would be to introduce and adopt emergency ordinance number 459A, provided by the Township Attorney on October 10, 2017.
And are we also adapting the original version?
We already did that and published it.
Okay, we did that.
Yeah, and that's,
All right.
just very briefly, the legislature in December of last year adopted substantive changes to the minor in possession laws and said they would be effective on January 1, 2018. In July of this year, the legislature amended that law and gave that amendment, and hence all the previously approved amendments, an effective date of October 10, 2017. Everybody wondered why they did that, why they didn't think of what they had done. I mean, the municipal legal community was planning on having all of their ordinances in place by January 1st. So then we scrambled and got you the ordinance, and you adopted it, and then we find out that the legislature said in September they realized what they had done, and they then put it back to January 1. And the governor signed that last Friday.
And is there a reason there's two copies of that 459A in the board
I think it was
packet?
just an accident.
Okay, so they're the same.
It's the same one, yeah.
And the one that would have been posted for the agenda is not the one I'm recommending that you adopt.
Right.
Okay. That's the motion,
So moved.
Support.
moved and supported. All right, vote please.
I vote yes.
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 Yes?
Motion carries.
Okay, 8C, adoption of zoning ordinance Z010, text amendments. These were introduced, I believe, at the last board meeting. And this is the opportunity to adopt the changes to the, and make text amendments to our zoning ordinance.
address Ms. Hansford's question on that? Do you know why that wording is like that?
Let's see if I can find that part of it.
Bullet point 23.
It's on page
Page 3.
49.
51 in your packet.
52 and mine.
49 in mine.
49 is the memo.
Oh, okay.
Well, the
then
question
the
she had
verbiage
was
is
on
on
page 3
52.
of that
Oh,
thing.
that's
which
right.
was
Okay,
this-
page 3,
Which is 52.
it's page
Section
52 of the
5.
packet.
non-conforming uses and structures as follows.
Right.
This is how it reads. Change to a permitted use, it's under section 16.03, non-conforming uses, subsection F. Change to permitted use as follows. Change to a permitted use. Once a land use is changed from a non-conforming use to a permitted use, and the non-conforming use may not be reestablished or resumed. For parcels currently occupied with a non-conforming single-family residential use, such use may continue in addition to a permitted conforming use as long as the dwelling is continually occupied. A vacancy of 12 months shall be deemed an abandonment of the residential use per subsection 16.05.g. I think what we're probably not realizing is this relates to a specific zoning classification. It's not just anywhere in any of the zoning classifications. So if in current state it's a non-conforming use, then it can be used. So
Well,
it's
what
very
zoning
limited to the areas that it'd be applicable
What
to.
zoning district does it apply to then? It doesn't say here.
It's the,
Should it revert back to the non-conforming, because apparently they're allowing this to continue, and we're making it like the new ordinance, but once that expires,
It's
it should then
industrial
go back to
zones.
non-conforming.
it's in an industrial, it's that.
It says in the memo it's
LM.
an industrial.
Yeah,
It says allowing continued occupation of homes in industrial zones as they transitioned to warehousing and other conforming uses. That's what Beth says in her memo.
yeah.
So once it's abandoned, it's gonna go back to, it's gonna go,
But it has to be abandoned for 12 months, and I
And then
think
it goes industrial.
Lynn's point is, you know, you're kinda, it's a lot of leeway to give.
So could we just say once abandoned and not make it for a 12-month period? Would that satisfy that then? Would mean that if someone moved out, then
The
that's the end of it?
12 months is a pretty that's like standard throughout the ordinance. If you let somebody set for 12 months, in just about every one of the categories, that's the standard time frame. And the reason being that it sometimes in order to reoccupy or to continue to use it, it could take up to a year to make that happen. So I guess my question is, I don't see that having a residential rental unit in an industrial, light industrial, this is actually, I can't remember the exact name of the zoning, but it used to be called light industrial. I don't see that has a negative effect on anything. I mean, you've got a structure there that's got property around it, it can be used for something else. Currently, it's zoned light industrial, it's not the correct language for it. And there's no reason not to be able to use that building, that's the way I feel about it.
Can I make a comment on this?
Sure.
I'm on the planning commission when this was discussed on the planning commission and they did this. And the reason that they even did this was for the person that is currently in there to let them stay till they're ready to move. And that was why they did this, because there was not an intention, but then of course we are leaving it open, like you're saying, for anyone else to move in there, because then they were going to be using it for something else. But it was just really to let that person stay, even though those other changes were going on.
It'd be great if
So-
that's all that happened. but,
Right,
You know,
right, I
the
see what
door
you're
is
saying,
open
too.
for them, this lady to move, somebody else to move in, and it just could continue forever and never transition
shouldn't
over.
that be restricted to the current resident?
My question is, what's the problem?
Yeah, well, I don't know, I'm just asking.
It's a rental unit, it's commercial use. It's not personally owned by the individual using the property, it's a commercial property at that point. So, you know, you're not selling it as a residential unit and expecting
Right.
the
Well,
industry to conform to it, so.
Mary Pat, you said that the purpose was to allow the current resident to
Mhm.
stay in it.
That was the intent of this discussion at the planning commission
So the
meeting.
intent is that it shouldn't then continue on with another resident, another resident, another
Mhm.
resident. Is that what we're saying?
Right, but that isn't what's written in here. I mean, that was the understanding, we didn't put it in writing, but that was the understanding at the meeting.
Carrie has a thought.
Carrie, yes, sir?
I wasn't involved in drafting this, but just looking at that language, Mary Pat, maybe you know, why is the last sentence in there? The first sentence says, the residential non-conforming use is allowed as long as the dwelling is continually occupied. Which, just taking that language, that if the residential occupancy stopped,
In
the
other words,
non-conforming use afforded here would stop. I'm not understanding why this next sentence in there, which is referring to the vacancy of the residential use, is deemed an abandonment, after 12 months. I mean,
Yeah.
I find those two statements to be inconsistent.
Because that,
If
you're
you-
right,
if the-
ending that
if-
way.
If it's for if you have to continually occupy it, and if it stops for any period of time at all, you lose the right, that second sentence, in my mind, creates confusion.
Mr. Dover, would you recommend just eliminating that last sentence then, that vacancy 12 months shall be deemed?
yeah.
Based on what has been stated as having been the intent, the last sentence is inconsistent with that. But again, I didn't really have any background on this at all, just looking at the words.
So if we modify the statement at this level, we have to put it back for public comment.
No, you have the ability to adopt something different than what's been recommended by the planning commission.
Can we accept part of these and push this one back for
Yes.
further revision?
Yes, that is permitted.
Does anybody see any reason why we can't just strike the last sentence and move on with it?
I should make a motion to accept it, but subject to removal of the last sentence.
I'm good with that.
Is that a motion?
That's the motion. Do I need any other?
Okay, there's a
To
motion.
adopt it with that last sentence
Yeah,
struck?
motion to adopt the ordinance striking the last sentence in section 5.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Salvia?
Aye, yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Just, Lynn, I appreciate you bringing that up, because these are the kinds of things that sometimes the comment helps some enlightenment. I mean, a different perspective is added value, so I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item, D, adoption of proposed ordinance number 458, an ordinance to amend section 9-118B in the Article 5 of Chapter 9 of Highland Charter. I guess I didn't see that in the Charter Township Code of Ordinances regarding the appointment and hiring of probationary firefighters. This was something that kind of almost slipped through the cracks. I think we introduced it, and then we want to make sure that we got a vote on that, so. Anybody like to make a motion to approve?
move to approve the ordinance number 458 and amend section 911-8B.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. A vote, please.
Mrs. McDonald?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, that was pending business. New business, item A, memo concerning trustee pay for missed meeting due to township business.
Can I take this one?
Yes, you may, Mr.
Okay,
Hunt.
after the last meeting,
Trustee Chanelwith was absent, not for any reason other than she was doing township business at a conference, correct?
Correct.
And I thought, and I know last year we did some changes and we're being paid by meetings, which I have no problem with that, but my issue is if something like that comes up where she's doing, it's not like she was out goofing around, well, maybe she was, it's a conference, I know those people, but, no, but not, she's out getting educated for something to help her as a role here in the township. And as I made the comment at the end of the last meeting to a couple people, what if you're really, really ill and you can't make the meeting? So I understand it's important to be paid for per meetings, and we have 15 meetings per year, and it's broken down that way, but things do happen. And that was an oversight on her part, I think, by forgetting we had the second meeting that month, if I remember correct what you had said, and I just don't think it's fair that she is punished for her pay for that one, because it's not like she was doing something township related. I think, and the problem with being paid by meeting, I think it showed that people think that's all we do is come to these meetings, and there's obviously more things that we do above and beyond just the 15 meetings that we attend or any extra meetings that come up. So how we're helping people in the community be involved in other things and so on. So I just don't think it's right that she'd be penalized for that, because she should be compensated for that, for missing the meeting just because she was out doing something township related.
Thank you. Can I make a comment? I appreciate very much what you're saying, but respectfully, I would decline, because that is the rule, and I knew that when I was accepting to go to this meeting. And I'm sorry I missed the budget meeting, but I just don't want to be an exception to the rule. That's the rule that we set. A lot of discussion went into that, and I know Mr. Dittmar and Mr. Tierney were, you know, something that they truly believed in too, and they're not here to defend that anymore. And so I just feel that, you know, if you start one exception, there's going to be lots of exceptions, because no one deliberately misses a meeting. They're either very sick or they have something else, and that was something we agreed to, and I'd rather just keep it that way. But thank you
Okay,
for
that's
your efforts.
fair enough, but I just don't think it's right. But I don't agree with you, but I respect it. I respect your decision, so. Thank you.
We can always pass a motion to force it upon you. And then you can deny it.
Lieutenant? Yes or no?
If you were gonna do that, I would do it in the context of amending the policy that you established on October 22nd.
I think it was pretty clear that Mary Pat doesn't want it to affect or amend the policy, and that was fairly clearly stated. But we do appreciate that you were doing things to learn more about planning and planning.
It's kind of lonely over here.
Commission,
Not
and,
here, but that's all right.
And thank you very much for that. So,
Thank you.
all right,
You're welcome.
we'll move on. All right, item B is resolution 17-16 to approve 2017 winter tax roll special assessments.
I would move to approve resolution number 17-16 to approve 2017 winter tax roll special assessments.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. A vote, please.
Mr. Howe?
I have a question, I guess.
Sure.
Could you explain this to me?
Sure.
I just,
This is kind of a housekeeping thing every year. You did want me to explain this.
Sure.
For the audience.
please.
Mhm.
And
Students are here too, they like this.
so the first one is for noxious weeds. It's 1,065. It's probably several parcels for people that just didn't cut their grass for whatever reason. And then not only didn't they cut their grass, after they were cited, they didn't pay for it. So the township has to pay for it. So we put it on the tax bill so that we can get reimbursed for that. The second thing is just a notification that we've pretty much used up as much as of our fund balance, or the savings account portion of our refuse fund, because of the hazardous waste day programs. So at this point, and plus we were charging less per household than the cost per household by GFL. We were charging $150 a year, I think, since 2014. The cost has been $153.12. So we have opted to up it to $165 per household, because the big reason is we have two hazardous waste days back to back, year to year. It's growing every year, so we budgeted for next year for $55,000. To cover that, we need to charge the $165 per household.
Thank you.
So the actual cost, you said, Judy, was $153 per house?
It's like $153.12. Yeah.
But that doesn't include the hazardous waste day.
It
That's
doesn't include
separate.
hazardous waste day, and it doesn't include the administration fee of 1%,
Or the clerical.
or the clerical position too. So there's other costs above and beyond just the garbage pickup contract fee per household. So the 165 should probably keep us where we need to be for a couple of years, because in 19, we won't have a hazardous waste day since they're every other year. So we should be good for at least a couple of years.
And at what point will we be, the contract with GFL?
2019.
20, okay, we'll be taught then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper.
All right, so we had a, do we have a support on that one?
Yes.
Thank you, we're starting, I think it was Roderick, was I starting?
Are we ready to vote? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes?
Motion carries.
Okay, resolution, item C, resolution 17-17, promote and allow using the website to post CDBG public hearing notices. This is an item that was requested by the folks in Oakland County for CDBG to allow us to be able to post these things, the information and stuff on our website, and they just needed a resolution in order to do that. So, any?
What's the purpose of doing that from the county's point of view?
I think it's just another, it's an allowance for another tool for more people being able to view the.
Okay, so they're looking at it like to get it out to more people
Exactly.
on the website.
They've had a lot of trouble getting responses to getting contractors like we've had with, we put out a contract twice now for ADA upgrades. These doors, this door here was an example of it. One person responded, one company. And then we let out again for modifications to the annex to do some other doors, one company. And we put it on, you know, we put it out in every possible way we could, including what do they call the one for?
Not written.
We had it on our website.
Yeah,
too, though.
and we got it on our website, so it's opening the door as wide as possible so that you can't be accused of, you know, trying to narrow the path of who responds, so,
And with us having joined Minton now, we'll be able to use that as a tool to get a lot more access to vendors that might be interested. And so that would be a lot better way for us to use our resources.
But this resolution isn't talking about advertising for contractors, it's talking about advertising for the public hearings.
correct.
So if you wanted to, you could still put it in the paper if
Yep.
you thought that was
Yep.
necessary or desirable, or, okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to confirm too, is that this is in addition to
To the
the other
Yes.
things, so that we clarify
Right.
that. Okay, thank you.
it's in addition to everything else we're doing.
Yep.
Well,
Yes,
if
sir.
I may, I mean, the third whereas is saying we're not gonna put notices in the paper anymore.
It says eliminating the need to publish public hearing notices in the local paper. It doesn't mean we don't have to do it. This is eliminating the need for it. In other words, this could supplant that if we chose to.
If I had a concern, and it's just, federal regulations are usually so nitpicky, and that's what we're talking about here, a federal program. Does the county's request that we do this indicate that doing this is going to keep us in compliance with federal regulations? I mean, I can't believe they would have us do something that wouldn't, but
They're the ones that asked us to do it.
is it in writing? Is it something where they've said
Was this their
CDBG
sample?
regulations now
This was-
require?
This was their
Is that their wording?
information, so,
Is that their wording?
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to even have that particular statement in there, you know.
Well, basically what this is saying is you don't have to put it in the newspaper anymore, you can put it on the website instead, because it's saving the township money. My question was, you can still put it in the paper if you want, it's still, as long as Oakland County knows we're putting it on the website too.
Yes.
Okay. That's just kind of strange.
Probably easier for them to track too.
Yeah.
It's just a common sense
When's
thing.
when's the next time we'll have to do one of these
Exactly.
public hearing notices?
Pardon me?
What's the CDBG cycle? When's the next time we'll have to do?
It's real soon,
I was gonna say, did you just do it?
because we have to put together, I think it's by November, we have to have, we've gotta have all that stuff handled, so there's another,
Well, my recommendation, I don't see a problem adopting this, but somebody make sure that we're okay to not put it in the paper the first time this
We
comes
should
up.
double check that.
It's a question that should be asked of the county. That's just foreign to me that the federal government is, especially HUD, would relax a requirement on municipalities. They're more prone to impose more.
well, I think the concept is that you're likely to get more visual or visiting of your website than you would a newspaper. Especially when the newspapers are limited as to who you can, I mean, you got the Oakland Press, which is a very limited circulation. It's by subscription. You got the Milford Times, very limited by subscription. You've got the Spinal Column, which is limited by frequency. So there is no limitation to frequency on the website because it's always on. And so you know, 24/7. So you have that ability to be able to put your information on there. If the public wants to know or needs to know, then the object is drive people to your website because that is where your information is at. And
Well,
that's the
I
point.
couldn't quarrel with the rationale behind it. I just would find it odd that the federal government would actually let you do less as opposed to requiring you to do more. I would think they would say, in addition to what you used to have to do, now you also have to put it on your website if you have one. That's more what I see coming out of the
Well,
government.
this might become moot in a year anyways if somebody chooses to do away with CDBG, which is on the docket, so.
I understand.
I've seen White Lake also pass this resolution a month or so back. We can pass along the information that Jenny received to you if you like, if you want to review it.
Very briefly, I just, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill with it, but what I wouldn't want to have is you, based on this, don't do something that HUD still expects you to do, and then somehow or other you don't get your money.
I can't imagine the county, who's been really picky with the CDBG stuff, even promoting this without having that knowledge. I mean, that's more, they're the ones that are the distributors of that money.
I can't imagine the legislature not realizing that they've changed the effective date of a law
Well,
inadvertently, so,
okay,
enough said.
there is a time frame on this, and that's why we need to make this happen, so.
Should
it's
adopt
not-
it.
So, where are we at on this
We
one?
need a motion.
We need a motion on this?
I would move to approve resolution number 17-17 to promote and allow using the website to post CDBG public hearing notices.
Support.
Moved and supported, a vote please?
Mrs. Chenoweth?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes, sorry.
Motion carried.
Okay, this next item is a revisit of an item that occurred a couple years ago when the fire department wanted to purchase a printer, and we went through a whole bunch of conversation and discussion about whether the internet was applicable for use for finding pricing and so on and so forth. And the board had agreed that you could use the internet. Well, we did go on the internet, and we have a clerk who actually has worked in this business prior to that. And what we did find out is that most of the stuff you find on the internet is used or refurbished. So there are items that have been either purchased from the manufacturer and then refurbished and sold on the market that way. And that's why you get the cheaper prices, but even then we found out that the prices weren't as cheap as what we could get from our current maintenance company, Applied Imaging. And so what it boiled down to was, in looking at all the pricing and stuff, we came right back to the same issue we had before. Applied Imaging offers Mitten cooperative prices, and they're the lowest prices that are available, and the state has, been involved in that. And so the recommendation is that we purchase a color copy printer, and I'll just make the motion. I make the motion that we purchase a color copier printer and sign a part service contract with Applied Imaging for the activity center. And I guess I need to have all the information on that printer. Let me pull that up.
Did we check with that My Deal or the state purchasing things?
Yes, we did.
Want the
Okay,
number?
yeah, the printer, let me get
It's
the,
on page 61.
So Ricoh MPC 3503 color MFP, $6,445 for
correct,
the memo.
correct.
Support?
I'm sorry, who supported that?
Judy did. All right, vote please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, the next item, 9F. Revision of Community Transportation Program
What
Guide.
E.
What did I do with E?
E.
I checked it off and didn't even talk about it, okay. E is authorization for supervisor to sign bookkeeping software upgrade agreements. Our bookkeeper didn't show up tonight, so. What there are is, hopefully you've read the documentation here. There's some upgrades to the software for bookkeeping, and it's an upgrade. It's for the township accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash receipts, payroll, asset management, and general ledger for about approximately $534 annually for software support over the next 5 years. This will provide future upgrades for life. Then there's also software for the amount of up to $5,400 and the software support of $850. The amount of $5,400 will come from the existing 2017 budget. The software support will come from the 2018 budget. I wonder why it's skipping the T's in their
No.
email. Bad keyboard. The MyTime software will replace the paper
Time.
cards with, our T's are skipping, with the conversation to secure electronic time entry with electronic department head approvals, interactive calendar by department, time off requests, electronic W-4 change requests, automated importing of time for payroll, etc. And there was a few sample software captures that were captured there. The chief was kind of interested in that from the standpoint is that what it does is it brings a calendar into play that everybody in the building, in both buildings actually, they're not using the software, can all see who's taking what time off, and we should be able to reduce conflicts by, if you're gonna take time off, you go look at the calendar, make sure you're not conflicting with somebody else. It allows for payroll, instead of entering on the cards by hand, each individual will be responsible to enter their payroll through the software. And then, in order for it to be effective, it has to be signed off by the department head, also electronically. So it should save a considerable amount of time, hopefully, for the bookkeeping component of the.
And reduce error from misreading somebody's handwriting or,
Right.
that kind of thing.
So did you have anything else you'd like to?
No, I would just mention that last year they purchased the Excel way of uploading the time card information, and that didn't turn out to be a really good fit for us. So Amy negotiated with Civic, and they took the price that we had spent on the Excel payroll program and applied it towards this package on the My Time. So it's not like any money was wasted on that. We gave it a try, it didn't work for us that great, so this will work a lot better.
Is this the one that you talked about, Ken, before too, that it's gonna make things easier for you? This same software will also be used by the fire department?
I haven't played with it much from this aspect, but the preliminary information that I got through Amy, yes, it would make it a lot easier.
Great.
I know that you've, with the software we currently have, has really helped.
Software, it's amazing. I get to my office and actually enter bills, and all I gotta do is print paper over. It's a ton easier from my perspective.
And time savings?
Absolutely.
What's the total number on this thing?
Exactly, I'm
This
confused.
says zero investment, am I reading that wrong? It says 44,500 less an upgrade discount of 44,500.
That represents what's already been spent on the program.
Okay.
And then there's, so to upgrade from Clarity to Connect is just an annual fee for 5 years of $534.
So that's all we're committed to.
Right.
Okay.
The My Time payroll part of it is a separate upgrade, and that has a one-time fee of $5,400 and then the support fee of $850.
Per year.
850 per year?
You're correct.
Okay, I was confused on that too.
And the software's running very, very good for everybody?
At this point,
How many years are we committing to by signing the $850 a year?
you can kill it off anytime you want.
Annual, just annual? Okay.
Right.
Let me just add to that, the software program that I'm currently using, I got a statement in the mail today for a unpaid bill. Amy was out of the office today. In the old days, I would have had to go back and search through all her files and probably would have messed up things, and I would have probably been beaten when she got back to the office. With the new system, I was able to just log in. I found the PO number or the statement number, found it. I matched it up. It was approved tonight at the payment. I was able to throw the statement away. It's good to go.
So efficiency is a big word.
It saves a ton of time.
All right.
Okay.
Tammy, can you put some numbers together for a motion for that? Because it's kind of a
Counselor,
piecemeal deal. Gary?
Just answering Mary's question, for the My Time Civic Support Agreement, Section 2 says it's for 1 year, but it automatically renews unless either party gives 30 days notice.
Oh, thank you, I didn't see that in there.
yeah, that's usually standard.
So if it's not working out for some reason, somebody will want a calendar.
No.
What page is that on?
I don't know, I don't have the page in the packet, it's
Here we go. This
it's
thing
near
is,
the back of this item called the Civic Support Agreement, Attachment B Support Agreement.
yeah.
Section 2 is titled Term. And this is the one that
Okay, I had it.
has the attachment for the
Lots of
5400.
contracts are
numbers
written
on
that
this
way,
last
but they
page.
want you have to tell them you want to quit, otherwise they keep.
Ken knows about those kind of contracts.
Yeah, it's on page 76.
Okay, there's the, on the screen here is what they're asking for here.
What I would suggest, since this is really two different packages, is to do two motions. One for the upgrade of Clarity to Connect, and then the other one for the purchase of My Time,
Okay, why don't
so
you
it's clear.
just go ahead and start that.
And then with regard to the annual fee, do we have to include that in our motion or just the purchase price?
Well, by approving the Civic Support Agreement for My Time, you'd be in effect approving the 5400 and the annual support
Okay.
number. I don't see anything in that Civic Support Agreement that gives them the right to change that price. Oh, no, they do. They have a right to increase at the anniversary date. So the 850 really is for 1 year.
Right.
Whether they hold it, you'll know.
So the conversion from Clarity to Connect is, there's no
There's no
cost
Cost,
to do
right.
that, okay. And then we're looking at 5,400 plus the 850 a month, or a year for the other ones?
right.
Right, so, you wanna make a motion for that?
Let's try this. I would move that we approve the township supervisor to sign the agreement to upgrade from Clarity to Connect.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported.
Put an amount on there?
I
No.
vote yes, or
Yes.
did you have other questions?
Should we put an amount
Should we
in there?
put an amount like not to exceed?
Well, it's in the contract, right?
And it doesn't have a
Okay.
purchase price, there's a,
Oh, the
Maintenance.
connect is the zero, sorry.
right,
It's specified in the contract, so we're agreeing to the agreement.
Okay.
all right, so ready to vote?
Yeah.
I vote yes.
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 Motion carries. And then I'll make a motion that we purchase the My Time software in the amount of $5,400.
Support.
Hold on a second here. Probably should state and authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement. Is that
Yes.
necessary?
It's already in there.
Well, you need to author, that needs to be a part of the motion.
And authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Roll,
Ready to-
please.
Mr. Salvia?
Yes.
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 And yes.
Motion carries.
All right, the next item is revision of community transportation program guidelines for new driver. Tammy, you worked with Kim on this. You want to explain this?
So Kim learned that what she had written in the guidelines made it sound like the 3-week training period came before the 90-day probationary period. And instead of, she intended it to be part of the 90-day probationary period, so it's been rewritten to clarify that.
So we're approving the revision.
Correct, that's,
Okay.
the only language changed is on the page that says new driver training.
That's on page 7 of the policy. So I'll read that so that you, one of the item under new driver training, under item number 2, the words training and will be added to the first sentence. The words the first 4 days, 20 hours will be struck. Item 3 will be struck and changed to read, the new hire trainee will be placed on a 90-day introductory period during which, if there are identified causes of concern regarding the safety and/or function of the program, that person will be immediately released. Trainees will be paid $9.75 per hour while training and through the remainder of the introductory period. Item 4, we're changing the word process and removing that and introducing it to read, provided during the training and introductory period. So those 3 words will be added. Then the last sentence will be added, however, the completion of the introductory period does not guarantee employment for any period of time, since all Highland Township employees are at-will employees both during and after the introductory period. And then item 5, the first sentence will be struck, and that first sentence reads, the new hire driver will then be placed on 90-day probation period, during which, if there are any identified causes of concern regarding the safety and or function of the program, that person will be immediately released. That's struck.
Now let's move up to 3.
So following the word probation is struck, and following the 90-day introductory, those are the 3 words added, period, the driver's pay will be increased by 75 cents per hour. Drivers will continue to receive annual raises based on the annual CTP budget. TTP was added. Yes, Gary?
Question. Is somebody in number 2, a new potential driver? Are they an employee of ours at that point?
Yes.
Because I heard the explanation, saw the memo in terms of what the intent was, and I looked at the changes and I'm going, look at number 2, the first line, where it says driver training and evaluation. I mean, what if you added during the 90-day introductory period after evaluation? That to me would make it clear. And
So you're,
and why are you calling him a new potential driver in number 2, and in number 3, a new hire trainee? If it's somebody that is in the same position, wouldn't you describe them the same way in both sections?
they're not necessarily all drivers. They are in this point,
Okay.
but they may not all necessarily be drivers at some future point.
Well, the heading starts off a new driver, though.
Yeah, it
Speak
says
up,
new
Joe, I
driver
couldn't-
training.
Huh?
Speak up, I couldn't hear.
The whole caption starts off a new driver training, so it's the subject seems to be like we're talking about drivers, so, which makes sense. I mean, if the subject is all drivers, then we should be talking about drivers. If we're trying to clarify this policy.
You feel okay with that? I mean,
Do you think that confuses the issue?
My additional language? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's confusing that you use the term new potential driver in 1 and new hire trainee in 2. I agree with Joe that the whole page is devoted to new driver training only.
Yeah.
But I mean, each new potential driver, okay, does that mean they're employed by us yet, or are they just doing their test drives on their own dime? I mean, it doesn't sound like the intent.
Right.
They're
Look at
paying.
it.
so then we should change the language to read each new
Hire
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 trainee.
trainee.
in number 2.
Each new, so we're going to strike new potential driver with new hire trainee. And then we're going to add anything beyond that?
After the word evaluation, suggest during their 90-day introductory period.
Okay?
I think this paragraph, the reason she wrote it that way is she's referring to the first 3 weeks where they will do this rotation of driving, riding and driving with the other drivers in the group. And then after that 3 weeks, then they're not doing that ride along, drive along kind of thing. So,
I don't think that changes it.
But that 3 weeks is part of the 90 days.
right. It's just I don't want it to sound like you're gonna be doing these drive along, ride along things for 90 days.
And my language says it's during the 90-day period. It wouldn't have to be the first 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, during the 90-day period, at which time you'll have 3 weeks of driver training, all these things can happen.
Okay.
Any or all these things can happen.
Okay, so you've
got too much.
captured everybody's captured the changes?
Mm-hmm.
We're assuming that we're gonna use your language as stated here.
It makes me feel good if you do.
Okay, thank you. We're paying for him to be here, we need to, that's why, thank you very much for being here, Gary.
It's probably fine without that, but I mean, if I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it, and that's what I do, so
That is what I
that's
do.
what you get.
This is the legal world. Yes. Thank you, I appreciate what you do, help us with every time, so.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so we've made that correction, those corrections, or amendments to the, however you wanna term this, so.
Looking for a motion?
Looking for a motion.
I would move to accept the community transportation program guidelines as revised.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported, vote please.
Mrs. McDonald?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item, is our annual 2018 calendar for holidays and Board of Trustee meeting dates. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at this. I just want to throw a little humor into this. We had an employee that requested that we sneak in Columbus Day in there, but we would rename it something else. And it turned into a pretty, it was a funny conversation, I had to admit. So looked very closely to make sure that we didn't get that snuck in there. And unless anybody wants to approve that to be added.
Did you want to add that on these holidays, that fireworks may be lit off the day of, before and after? Just to make sure all your residents do that?
That's some advice we're not gonna take at this moment. Thank you, Gary.
I would move to approve the 2018 calendar of holidays and Board of Trustee meetings as presented.
Support?
Moved and supported. Vote please.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, item number 10, list of bills.
And additions.
With additions.
This edition that were handed out.
And also email.
Somebody wanna make a motion to approve?
I would move to approve the list of bills as presented, as amended with additions.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote please.
Mrs. Chenoweth?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, public comment. Any public comment?
Question.
Yes.
Mr. Charlick's here. How's it? Just wanted we can update how it's going back there. I've driven up there a couple times. It looks good, but I want the expert to tell me how it's going. So
It's wet right now.
yeah. How was it going before that?
Good.
Yeah.
We should be a month and a half, and we should have some people in the building.
Okay.
Thanks.
Our first building.
good job. So,
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
I think it's the first meeting I went to so far. Everybody was yes on everything. I didn't hear no.
We saw you here. We had to do that for you.
Yeah.
So,
I would-
we appreciate very much that you've taken on that project. I think what it is you're trying to do and what it says to the community is all positive. I was driving down 59 to the east and looking at East Highland, and people, saying, well, things are changing, and a lot of times you get used to what you see every single day, and one of those things that we're used to seeing driving that way is a big tree that got cut down in front of Burger King, and it kind of makes your eyes go, whoa, what happened,
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the same time, what it does, it opens up all this other stuff that says new auto parts store, Burger King's remodeling, Highland House is remodeling. You've purchased property and you're doing things that are gonna help us have some more industrial space for people that wanna stay in Highland when we've had limited opportunities. We've got some other irons in the fire. The water that's come across the road now has put in 3 hydrants in our downtown district so that we have more ready access to water. The fire department won't have to drive all the way to the library to fill up.
Yeah, we got fire hydrants back there now too. So I mean, that's fire suppressed buildings. The front of it will be really interesting. Once we ordered like a huge. The sign for the front of the property is going to be a huge rock that we're having made. It's like a concrete, but it looks like a rock. And so I think the right people in the township developing it right get you the right feel. So I mean, that's why we're leaving a lot of the tree line in there, and we're trying to keep it rural feeling. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so doesn't look just like a huge industrial park.
Well, you're doing a good job and really appreciate it. So not only are we getting water, but a lot of people have asked about the barrels on M59. The intent was,
It's emergency runway for.
the aliens are landing.
Sure does.
MDOT, earlier in the year, when I went to a meeting, actually I'll go back a couple of years, they've been talking about M59 and having shovel-ready projects, and they did all the engineering for M59 to be repaired and replaced, starting at the hill out here and heading west to Tipsico Lake Road, the county line. And then this spring, they informed me that they were going to start that project in 2018. Well, apparently they forgot that they had to, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory way, but they realized that they had to get, if they're going to start in 2018, there's a whole bunch of utilities that had to be upgraded, gas lines, electric poles moved, things like that. So all those barrels are there because they're redoing gas lines that have been in for a number of years. They're upsizing them for future use. They're putting new lines from the main on the north under to the south, so that all that will be updated, because they're going to have to extend some of that because of grading. The ITC is moving power lines because they were poles that were put in on a setback that was established in 1936, and they're moving the poles to the current setback where they should be moved. So you'll see a lot of trees come down, changes that way. There are trees that were put in on right of way in the first place by the first widening of 59. The state planted those, so they're their trees, they get to cut them down. But it's signs of progress, and I think that one of the things that I hope that we don't misinterpret in that is that I had a conversation earlier today with a couple of people, and they said, we're kind of worried about, the look and feel of the community, and that it's kind of looking like further east. And I explained to them that we have an opportunity here that most communities don't, and that's to maintain what is currently called, or what I call it, and some people on the Planning Commission call it, the scenic corridor. And it's an identity piece that, when you talk about branding and stuff, what makes Highland different than other communities? It's going to be that scenic corridor in the future. So the Planning Commission in the past has done things like 300-foot setbacks for Timber Ridge and Cobblestone and Prestwick, and that whole section, even where the mobile home park is. If you notice, everything is pushed way back. The intent on that is to maintain that scenic corridor. And that's the thing that it pretty much starts at Waterbury and it ends at Hickory Ridge. There's going to always be those spots that are going to end up commercial that have been kind of pushed to commercial. I assume that Hickory Ridge will probably have some more commercial at it sometime. But we are blessed with having some state land there. So we also need to make future plans for that, because the value of that land at some point in time will force the state to go, gold mine, let's sell. And so we need to, as a board and as Planning Commission, we need to be looking at making some statements about that land and what we can do to preserve that corridor. The comment from the individual that was talking about it looking like communities to our east, or starting to, brought up Woodward Avenue. And if any of you have been on Woodward Avenue in Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, that was some incredible foresight a long time ago to make that a corridor that really has a different look and feel. And that's the kind of thing that we should look at here, make that same kind of preservation. So we need business to help us support our community. We need business for people to work here. I think that we're moving in the right direction, and I think that with a lot of due care and to pay attention to what the communities on our east and west are doing, let them blow themselves up with commercial. yeah, they're gonna have amenities that look great and everything, but you know how that has a tendency to go. If you get too big and too dependent, you could end up like having things happen to you with Wixom losing the Ford plant and their dependence on taxes, and then they have to change how they approach things. And so I think we're doing a good job. I think that we want to maintain that rural atmosphere that we keep talking about. It's my goal, and I know it's everybody else's on this board's goal to help direct it that way. So we do have really good things happening. We've got new businesses that are coming in. We have, like I said, modifications to buildings, and it's exciting from the standpoint that they're not just sitting there dumps or empty lots that people are throwing trash on. It's making a good use for a district that's already considered a commercial zone, and I think that the buildings we're getting and the remods on the shopping centers are all upgraded. So that's your business environment saying we think things are very positive here. We want to be a part of it. We're going to maintain our properties, and we're going to do something to be a future part of Highland. So that's my diatribe there, I guess. So,
Mr. Hardwick, thanks again. What you doing?
Thanks.
all right, any other public comments?
Public comment.
Yes.
November the 11th is Veterans Day. We're choosing that day to dedicate the flags and the new poles in the whole area, citing about 10 o'clock for that. And then following that, 11 o'clock, we would have the Veterans ceremony honoring veterans. So
Okay.
two things will happen on that morning. 10 to 10:15, we'll get that, and the scouts will be there and his family. So that's something we could publicize.
Is that in
So-
Veterans Park? Right?
Yeah, we're going to have a formal dedication of the new flags and the poles, and probably 10:15, maybe a half-hour ceremony, take a short break, and then we'll go into veterans recognition for Veterans Day. So that can be publicized,
All right.
okay?
Anybody else?
I would like to express my thanks to the Huron Valley Council of Arts and all the people that worked on the festival this weekend. Aaron, Heidi, Missy, Ken, and Rick put a lot of work into that festival, and Judy helped out there too, and it was a beautiful day.
It's fun.
We had a rare sighting of good weather in Highland on a festival day, but it was a very wonderful festival. Good start.
Who won the Highland Games?
Who
Just
was
saying.
that team that
I'm
won
assuming
the
the fire
Highland
department must have
Games?
won.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Right.
It was an unusual event. I think that it was pretty funny. I think we still need to do tomato fights, but
Wow.
we'll get that next year.
My staff had a blast.
All right. I'd like to make an additional public comment. Mr. Raymond, I want to apologize for how long this thing has turned into a shooting match, whatever you want to call it. I think we need to end whatever it is that's going on, and let's move forward. And I think we can all live a lot better life if we agree to disagree, but let's try and make this thing work instead of button heads and sending emails back and forth.
When do you want to meet at your office?
I'm
When do
sorry?
you want to meet at your office and we'll discuss it?
Okay, we'll set up a time to do that. But I do publicly want to apologize. It's hard to take this position and to try to, quote, defend yourself and defend our board. And the object isn't really to do that. The object is to make sure that we see that we find the paths to be able to, like I said, agree to disagree is a lot better than just fighting over something. And so I know the public doesn't really have a clue what I'm talking about necessarily, but it relates to ordinance issues. It relates to how did we perform. And I admit that we didn't perform perfectly. We have done what we can do. I know that it's not the what I think you would like to see, Mr. Raymond, but we've done what we can do, but I'm sorry that it turned into the kind of interaction that it has. So I think the best thing is we'll get together, we'll sit down and have a conversation about it, we'll find a way to agree, even though we may still disagree.
That's fine.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your coming in, and I hate doing 3-minute things, as you can tell. because I can't hold myself to 3 minutes, so,
Show them the meter, please.
well, I'm 10 minutes over, so thanks again, I appreciate it, and I'm very sorry, so I apologize. And I won't apologize for the whole board because I have to apologize for myself, and I don't know if the board needs to be any more than that, so, thank you. On that note, motion to adjourn.
I would move to adjourn.
Support?
Moved and supported.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye, aye,
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Students, you've seen almost a record during Highland Board meeting. I told you it'd be 2 hours of excitement. I lied. Thanks for staying for the extra 15. The other two guys will get extra credit.